Minnesota state and county officials just sued the government, and to be more specific, they named two very important people: Pam Bondi, the current attorney general, and Kristi Noem, the former secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. So it's possible we could at least see some shred of justice here. But unless they're, like, let's be real, unless they are both locked up or better yet buried under the prison, then it's not enough justice, because these are some of the most evilest people in the administration, or in Kristi Noem's case previously. I mean, she's still, like, isn't she like the director of like SHIELD or whatever now? Anyways, let's get into this full article. This is from CBS News. Minnesota officials sue federal government over Renee Good, Alex Pretti investigations. In a lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, Hennepin County District Attorney Mary Moriarty, and Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans alleged that the Justice Department and the Department of Homeland Security have blocked state investigations from accessing the evidence they need in order to investigate the three shootings. If you're wondering what the third shooting was, it was Julio Cesar Sosa-Celis. I believe this is one of the people that was chased down by agents, and they like shot him as he was fleeing into his house. And they tried to claim that like he and his, like, they were assaulting the agents or threatening the agents with shovels. And then there were other agents and witnesses on the ground, and they were like, that didn't happen. So charges were dropped against Julio Cesar Sosa-Celis. Anyways, let's see. The lawsuit names Justice Department, the Department of Homeland Security, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who presided over the immigration crackdown in Minnesota earlier this year. All shootings are initially reviewed by an appropriate law enforcement agency, the spokesperson continued. Following a review of the incident by the appropriate investigative agency, ICE and CBP conduct an independent review of the critical incident. There's like, something doesn't make sense here. How can ICE and CBP, the people who were directly responsible for these murders and shootings, how are they able to conduct an independent review of the incident when it was them? It's like, we investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong. Like, God. A spokesperson for the Justice Department could not be immediately reached for comment. The FBI declined to comment. The department said that the FBI is leading the Pretti investigation with the support of Homeland Security Investigations, and Customs and Border Protection is also investigating separately. I wonder why Kash Patel wasn't specifically named here, considering he's the head of the FBI. But I mean, he kind of falls into this like in the umbrella sense. Actually, is the FBI a part of this lawsuit? If not, why? Anyways, the lawsuit lays out in detail the ways in which the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, or BCA, was blocked at every turn from accessing evidence in each of those three cases. When the FBI first started to investigate the shooting of Good, the Bureau initially agreed to share evidence and cooperate with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension as a part of its parallel investigation into whether her killing was legally justified. In an abrupt shift from historical practice, however, the FBI reversed course the same day, blocking BCA investigators from sitting in on key witness interviews or accessing evidence collected at the scene. That is crazy. That is crazy. So the federal government can deploy these masked Gestapo thugs, murder their citizens, and the state doesn't even get to play a role in the investigation? Are you kidding me? Again, I stressed this in another video I did today. I don't ever want to hear Republicans talk about states' rights and small government ever again. You are disqualified. You are barred from the conversation. So please just shut up. The probe was later shut down, and multiple federal prosecutors resigned in protest after they were pressured to cease investigating Good's death as a civil rights case and were ordered to investigate Good's wife and treat it like a case of an assault on a federal officer, CBS News previously reported. I forgot about that. Like, they ended up, instead of investigating the person who killed Renee Good, they're like, oh, we're going to investigate Renee Good's wife, who just lost her wife. Like, these people are demons. They are demonic. God, we are ruled by absolute psychopaths. The lawsuit claims that initially federal officers were poised to cooperate on this incident with state investigators, including even allowing BCA and FBI agents to be paired into teams so they could begin interviewing witnesses and canvassing the scene. But that cooperation quickly stopped after the assistant special agent in charge in the FBI's Minnesota field office ordered it to end, the lawsuit alleges. Although BCA collected as much information as it could, some of the key evidence still remains with the federal government, the lawsuit says. Initially, the Justice Department did not open an investigation into Pretti's death, allowing DHS to take the lead in investigating its own 2 federal agents, and BCA investigators were blocked from accessing the crime scene or interviewing the agents involved in Pretti's death. To date, the federal government has not provided the identities of the mass federal agents who shot Mr. Pretti to the BCA or HCAO, the lawsuit says. That is crazy. God, just monsters. Like, again, we're investigating ourselves. Don't worry. We're going to do an independent investigation of ourselves. Okay, so state officials claim they were told by the U.S. Attorney's Office and the local FBI that the government hoped to resume normal evidence sharing practices for the Pretti case. But then the Justice Department had sent a lawyer from Washington, D.C. to coordinate the federal response to the state's request, and soon the tone shifted, according to the lawsuit. The U.S. attorney conveyed that evidence would be shared in only one direction. DOJ expected the BCA to share its evidence with federal authorities, but federal authorities had no intention of sharing their evidence with the state, the lawsuit alleges. What can I say, man? This is just fucked up. The lawsuit says that after all efforts to obtain evidence in the 3 cases filed, the Hennepin County District Attorney's Office tried a more formal approach and issued what are known as TUI requests to DHS and the Justice Department. TUI requests, named after a Supreme Court case, referred to the regulatory process used to seek testimony or documents for use in litigation or investigations in which the government agency is not a party. The Justice Department to date has not responded to the requests. DHS punted the request for information on the Good case to the Justice Department while failing to respond to requests in the 2 other cases, the lawsuit says. DOJ has not identified any lawful basis that would justify their refusal to share evidence with plaintiffs related to the shootings of Ms. Good, Mr. Pretti, or Mr. Sosa-Celis, nor did DOJ provide a lawful justification for its dramatic departure from prior longstanding practice of state-federal cooperation and evidence sharing, the lawsuit says. This is literally like obstruction of like justice. This is obstruction. What can I say? Like, of course, like everyone knows this. The reason why they don't want to share any of the evidence and cut the state completely out is because we can see on videos from multiple angles on how the government story and narrative is bullshit and how they clearly just murdered 2 American citizens. The complaint accuses the government of violating the Administrative Procedure Act by acting in an arbitrary and capricious manner that is not in accordance with the law. It also alleges the federal government unlawfully withheld and unreasonably delayed agency action and violated the 10th Amendment, which imposes federal limits on states' authorities. I like how we're at the point now that conservatives have been warning about for years, for decades at this point, that you're going to have this big scary government terrorizing, murdering, and disappearing citizens along with military forces in the streets. And what's happening right now? And where are those Republicans? Where are those don't tread on me people? Oh, they're cheering it on. 100% full-throated support. Like, not even subtle support. Like, straight up, like, I am glad Renee Good died. I'm glad Alex Pretti died. They were domestic terrorists. That's where we're at. And that's where they're at. If this was happening under a Democrat, Republicans would be taking up arms, 100%. But since it's a Republican, you guys get right on your knees. You have no principles. You have no values. You don't even have morals. You are cattle, and you are owned by the Republican Party. Like, you have no principles of your own, no values of your own. You just go with whatever the flow that the Republican Party is telling you to believe. That's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.